Right. Is this working? I hope so. Welcome to the second live stream I've done this week, and I'm not making any particular plans to make this a regular thing, but I am testing out this product at the moment. This is the YoloBox, and first thing I want to say, as I said on the last stream that I did, this has been sent to me for review, but this isn't a video I'm doing to specifically promote this product or anything like that. I'm just playing around with it and giving it a try, and it's a fun product to use. So yeah, it's something that I'm trying out at the moment. Somebody on the last, I'm not terribly proficient at this whole live streaming thing. Somebody on the last live stream that I did wrote in the comments, "Oh, skip to 5 minutes. This is like totally unedited. It's really long and all that." And I was sort of thinking to myself, well, in fact, I wrote in the comments as a reply, it is unedited because it's a live stream. Of course it's unedited. So, but then that made me think afterwards, and I thought to myself, well, yeah, I guess I could have made it more obvious in the title that it was a live stream, and I could have maybe put it on the thumbnail, and maybe I could have said at the start that it was a live stream. So that's what I'm doing now. I've put it in the thumbnail, I've put it in the title, I've put it in the description, and I'm telling you now, if you're watching this after the event, this is a live stream. So it isn't going to be fast, it isn't going to be quick, and it isn't going to be like edited in any way, shape or form. I have, however, this time made some notes, which I thought I'd, give myself a running order and all that. I think it's vital to have a running order for these sort of things. And if I just sort of point you down at the actual product here, you might be able to see in the background that I've got this on a different stand. Just here, you can see that I've got this on a different stand. And this is a laptop stand that I did a review on a while ago. It's a laptop stand actually that I use every day at work, and it's pretty much the cheapest one I could find on Amazon. And it's really quite good for these sort of things, because I've seen other people reviewing this product and sort of promoting it with particular stands and things like that. And I think, well, they're good and everything, but they look a bit, they're quite sort of overkill, maybe. And I thought this thing's like £10 or something. So I thought the fact that it has these extra little bits that stick up here, because of course it's designed for a laptop, doesn't actually matter, because it means it gives these cables. Let me just move my camera slightly actually so you can see it a little bit more clearly. So the fact that it gives a bit more space here is a good thing, I think, because it gives these cables a bit of, it means that if something's going to hit it, it's probably going to hit this metal here rather than the actual ports down here, which I kind of think has got to be a good thing. But yeah, so that's just a kind of little addition to the live stream since last time. Right, so what am I talking about today? Well, what I wanted to talk about was the audio capabilities on the YoloBox Pro. I can't speak for the YoloBox because I've never used it. I don't know if they're similar. I don't know if they've implemented the same kind of changes as they have on the Pro, as they have, on the YoloBox as they have on the Pro. So I can't comment on that. But so this is specifically for the Pro, and it is specifically for version 1.6. But in fact, they updated it this morning to 1.61. They corrected a few spellings and changed a few scheduling things, and just minor changes. Nothing serious at all. But let's just have a look at what we've got as far as audio is concerned on the YoloBox. So most of the audio stuff is done through just 1 second. I've managed to knock a glass over. That's great. Fantastic. That's not going to help anything. just 1 second. I'll be back. I'm just going to put some music on for a second. Well, this is going well. This is going really well. I've managed to spill a drink all over my laptop here, which isn't going to be great at all. Right, let me just pop that there and see if we can stop this from completely wrecking my laptop. I'm glad this is all being broadcast live because, you know, there's no way of getting around this. This has completely wrecked my desk here. I got a ton of stuff on here and I have completely soaked it. Great. Right, there we go. Okay, that's going to have to do for now. I will sort the rest of it out later, and hope that I haven't wrecked my computer. Okay. Anyway, where were we? So audio on the YoloBox is all done through here. It's all done through this particular section here. This is the bit that they decided to change last time and put a kind of audio mark with a squiggly line on it. And you can see in here that we have a mixer, and they added this in a fairly recent firmware. And this allows us to, you can see here that I've got all my audio coming in from HDMI 3 because that's what's showing as on. But I think the main thing to point out here is that they added this, and what this allows is you to actually mix devices, so you can mix more than one device at once. Previously, you were only able to just put one device at once. You could have audio follows video, which is this AFV option at the top here, or you could just select the device that you wanted. Now, if you want to have audio coming in from HDMI 1, HDMI 2, and HDMI 3, you can just select all of these. The only problem is that there are still some serious limitations with this. So you can do 3 devices at once, but only certain devices. So if you want to have USB audio down here, for example, so if I were to plug in a USB device, you can only have one device at once. USB audio cannot be mixed with anything else. So if I were to press that now, well, actually I can't because there's no device plugged in. But if I were to press it, it would just say you can't be mixed. I would have to disable HDMI 3 first and then select USB audio. Equally, line in and mic in are other options as far as audio is concerned. They are ports on the back of the machine, which I'll just show you here on that image I showed you last time. So here on the back of the machine, you can see on the right-hand side there, we've got a mic port and a line port. These are just 3.5mm ports. And I'll come back to them in a second because there are a few little quirks with those, which are a bit strange, a little bit strange in the way they work. I'm not 100%, this is only through my testing, so I'm not 100% certain on this, but a little bit odd. But they're the 2 ports there that I'm talking about. And they can only be, you can only have one or the other. You can't have both of those at once. And these faders here, these are absolutely fine for, the dB scale is not accurate on these. It's just a guide, but they're absolutely fine for setting things up. Not so great for getting any kind of accuracy because it's touch and there's just no sort of specific accuracy here at all. You can't get this to be perfect, and it's really hard to get it back to 0 dB. In fact, I went back to YoloLive and I asked them, is there any way you could just put a reset button on there or something to get it back directly to 0 dB? And they said they would look at doing that. So hopefully they'll add some way of double tapping on the display or something like that and getting it back to 0 dB. But for now, we're left with a fairly awkward mixer scenario, sort of like a sideways mixer for setting up your audio. But it is fine for setting it up, and it just means that you can just get all your audio levels right. You can add delays and things like that on the USB audio. As far as the audio that you can actually use on the YoloBox Pro, well, you've got a number of options, really. There aren't any sort of actual serious audio considerations on the device itself. There's no kind of XLR mic support, there's no kind of phantom power support, anything like that. But that's not really what this thing is about. It's about portability, and it's about something that's like quite small, and you can just kind of plug in like any whatever device into it, and it can carry HDMI audio. So whatever you can, if you can, I've got my camera plugged in here, the one I'm talking to you on now. I can plug any device, any audio device into that camera, and that's the audio that will get carried over HDMI and into the YoloBox. So if for now I'm on HDMI 3, it's actually coming from my computer. But if I switch to HDMI 2, you should be able to hear this device. So I've got the Rode Wireless Go mic hooked into my camera here. So I won't be able to monitor myself on my headphones because I'm doing that on the RodeCaster here. So if I switch to 2, if I switch audio 2 on now, you should be able to hear me. And that's all coming through the Wireless Go microphone. So the options there, you can just have this instead, and you can hook this to your, put this on your chest instead, and you don't have to worry about external audio. So it keeps that kind of portability side of things, because of course all your audio options are just whatever you can provide over HDMI. Right, switching back to my main audio here, because I wanted to... What was next on my list? I can't believe I managed to spill that. What an absolute... I mean, I probably shouldn't have even had a drink here in the first place, but yeah. So I wanted to talk to you about the level meters, because if you take a look at the level meters on here, you can just sort of see them up at the top here, and they're not terribly responsive. They're okay. In fact, to be honest, they seem a little bit better than they were on the last build. I'm not sure if they've made any changes to those, but I would love on this device for there to be a more kind of competent and more full level meter. I don't expect a really good level meter in just the general view like that, but I would love the option to have a good level meter that you can just switch to get things set up properly, because level meters are so important, and they have to be fast, they have to be responsive, and they have to be accurate. And I think the one that you see on here is just a little bit kind of, it's a sort of a bit more of an afterthought, I think, and that's a bit of a shame. And okay, so also at the top here, we have the program monitor, and that allows you to adjust the volume for the headphones. And the headphone option is great, but it does have the lag of HDMI, and HDMI carries, it must be a 300 millisecond lag or something like that. So a latency, should I say, rather than a lag. Probably latency is a better word for it. And unfortunately it does carry that with it. So if you are monitoring on headphones, it's impossible to do as a one person operation, or as I mentioned on my previous video, if you were somebody working this device, working the actual sort of YoloBox here, and you were anywhere near the people who are actually talking, it'd be really hard to do, because of the fact that you'd have that delay in your ears of kind of 300 milliseconds or whatever. So the headphone out on it is kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe I'm missing something here, but I kind of feel like it's a bit pointless, because I can't use it. I mean, I have to use my the headphone out on my RodeCaster here. It's the only way I can do any kind of decent monitoring. So, I don't know. Maybe other people have got different opinions on that. If you have, stick it down in the comments and let me know. Okay, so USB mic wise, can you use a USB mic on this? Well, you can, yeah. I've tested a couple, and although they aren't officially supported, I have tried one out, and I will do that now. I've got this old one that I reviewed ages ago. This is the Fifine, is it the K669 or something like that? The K659? I don't really remember what it's called. But I should theoretically be able to just plug this in. Now, that doesn't mean you can use any USB audio device. If I've tried my RodeCaster just as a USB audio device directly into the back of this, and that doesn't work. I also thought I'd try and be a bit clever, and I tried my headset that I use for work, and that didn't work either for some reason, because it's not Bluetooth. Well, it is Bluetooth, but there's a little kind of sound, little dongle that comes with it that's effectively just a USB sound device. And I plugged that into it, and it recognized it, and it worked. It connected and everything. And the headphone thing came up even, but it just no audio came through the microphone, unfortunately. So that didn't work, but I thought that might be quite a clever way of doing it too. If you want to connect an XLR mic, you can do that, but you need something like this. So this is a really old device, actually. This is a Centrance MicPort Pro. This is from 2009. And this thing is unfortunately a bit broken. It does work, as in you can hear audio through it, but it's full of all. It's like, the capacitor noise. When capacitors are dodgy, you get that kind of like type noise on it. That's exactly what you get with this. So I'm not going to plug this in right now, but you could, and this works fine. If you plug this in, you'll be able to use a phantom powered XLR mic directly into the USB port on the YoloBox. But what I will test for you right now is the Fifine mic that I've got here. So he says, try not to spill any more of his drink. Is that all wet under there? Yeah, I think it is. Great. Okay. So I've just plugged in, because this has to go into the USB-C port on the back. I'll just show you that one again, just so you can see what I'm talking about. So it goes into the Type-C port, 4 ports from the right-hand side, so next to the HDMI out that you can see on the screen there. It goes into that. It does not work if you put it into the USB-A port. And so I'm just going to plug that in now, and I'll switch over to this view, and you can see as I'm plugging it in, it should pop up here on this USB audio section. So let me just find that. There we go. So that's popped up in there, and I should be able to switch to that now. So if I turn off my HDMI 3 audio, in fact, can I do them both at once? Okay, see, there's the message. That's the message that I was talking about before, and that's because I can't have both the HDMI 3 audio and the USB audio. I can only have USB audio. So if you do choose to use a USB mic in this way, you are tied to just using that USB mic. You can't bring any other audio in on the YoloBox if you're kind of choosing to use that setup. So that's a kind of a bit of a restriction, which I don't know. I find a bit limiting, really. But absolutely fine if you're out and about and you just want to have a lav mic attached or something like that or whatever. But other than that, it might be a bit limiting. So let's just enable this. 1, 2, 1, 2. Ooh, what are the levels like on that? So there we go. I'm just trying to check my levels on this. It seems about right like that. Don't seem to be peaking. So that's on the Fifine mic. It actually sounds pretty decent, this microphone. And so this is using a USB mic just plugged straight in. nothing else done, no drivers to set up, nothing like that. It just works straight out of the box. And I've even got a little gain control on the front of this microphone as well. So it's pretty good. I mean, you know, you can get some decent audio out of this. And there we go. We're back on the Rode Broadcaster. And as soon as I unplug this, it just disappears there from the list. So if anyone has that question, does a USB mic work on the YoloBox Pro? The answer is yes, it does. It can. Official line, not supported, not tested. Try it out and you might do absolutely fine with it. Okay. I've had one more. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk about was the limitations with the so the mic and the line input there on the right hand side next to the USB power, between the headphone out and the USB power. There's a kind of weird thing. They're both one of them. Well, they both seem to be mono as far as I'm concerned. I did ask YoloLiv about this, and they said that the mic was stereo and the line in was mono. From what I can tell, the mic in is mono and the line in is mono. And interestingly, they both carry different channels. So it's almost as if they've taken one stereo input, split it out and put it into two ports. Because I think, if I remember rightly, the mic in carries the left channel and the line in carries the right channel. So I thought to myself, well, that's kind of rubbish, really, but fair enough. I can possibly use that. I shouldn't be able to use that because a mic in should be much lower level than a line in. But the mic in on this is not a mic in at all. It's a line level, because I can put an output from the headphone on the RodeCaster Pro here, and it works okay. So the mic in is line level and the line in is line level. It appears from what I can test. And I thought, well, that's fine, because then I can take two headphone outs and I can put the left channel of one into mic and the right channel of the other into the other. You know what I mean? Just split them out, and that will give me a stereo input by enabling them both. But of course, as I mentioned, in here, you can't enable both of these at once. So effectively, you've got two ports which are mono and are kind of they're okay for line in mono, but they're not okay for mic in, because I tried putting the Rode Wireless Go, the little Wireless Go mics into these as well, and they're just too quiet, because of course, if you're talking about line level, even if you push up line level in a mic input, if you were to have a mic going into a line input, and even if you were to increase the level on that, it would still be pretty quiet. So they're kind of, they don't really work in any particular way. I'm really curious to know what the intention is on those two particular ports, and that is why I come round to the kind of final setup that I've got here and that I'm using at the moment, which is using HDMI audio from a RodeCaster, because that, of course, doesn't give you the portability of the YoloBox, and that's what it's amazing for. It's great for its portability. So if you can take audio from a camera and you've got kind of a shotgun mic on a camera and you're doing it via HDMI, absolutely perfect. It works perfectly at that, and it gives you can do that from 3 HDMI devices. You can have 2 different lav mics on 2 cameras, or one on one camera with 2 separate feeds coming in, and a shotgun on another camera to capture kind of ambient audio or something like that. So I don't want to give the impression here that the audio options are limited on this device at all. I just think those mic and line in are a bit weird. So as far as a setup here where I don't need portability, I've gone with a RodeCaster going in on HDMI audio. And the way I've done that is through my computer. So I'll just switch to the computer now, and you can see what I'm looking at here. So if I go into here, this is software called Loopback, which some of you may be aware of. And all I've done here is create a virtual sound device which has the RodeCaster as an input, and it goes through to this output channel here, and then it goes through to here, which is the Lontium Semi, and the Lontium Semi is what the HDMI ID of the YoloBox is. I don't know why. Don't know why it's called that. I don't know whether that comes from the chipset, the HDMI chipset, or whatever. I don't know, but that's what it's called. And if you just do that very, very simple setup, you can see here that I've got my audio coming from the RodeCaster through to the output channel and directly digitally into the YoloBox, which means that I have the full flexibility of the RodeCaster. I don't need to do it analog via any kind of headphone socket. I don't need to do levels really or anything like that, because it is just a digital out from the HDMI. I mean, I've got to check my levels on the RodeCaster, of course. I've got to make sure I don't overdo it on the RodeCaster. But other than that, the levels are good. And I can play the kind of music from these things as well. I could bring in a phone call. I can use up to 4 mics on this. So it just gives, from a live streaming perspective, like here in a kind of fixed environment like this, it gives me so many more options. I saw somebody do a video on connecting a RodeCaster, and they connected it from a headphone out, and I just kind of thought there's a bit of an odd way to do it, particularly using the line in, because the line in is mono from what I can tell. So that wasn't good enough. I didn't want to do it that way, and I chose to do it this way instead, because I thought that doing it using a setup where you've actually got full digital audio all the way through using an actual virtual audio device is a good way to do it. Equally, you can also you can disable the mix minus on the RodeCaster, which means you also can bring in audio from the Mac as well, or from your computer as well, because sometimes I might want to play something on, I might want to play a file on the actual computer, and I can do that as well. So if I were to go to my computer here and maybe just, wow, I've got really exciting music there. I'll just open this file because it's just a tone, actually, this one. But I'll just do it anyway. And see whether that can... There we go. Exciting. You can hear that I got audio coming through there from the computer too, because I've just disabled the mix minus because I don't need it. If I were to bring anyone in on any kind of Zoom call or something like that, of course I would need to re-enable that. But I can have people coming in on my mobile phone, just hook that up, and as a setup, it's kind of quite nice. It works pretty well. The final thing I wanted to discuss today is broadcast processing. So in previous videos, and some of you may have seen in some of my videos, I've looked at the tool that looked at the stereo tool broadcast processor, and I thought to myself, well, maybe rather than just doing my mic audio like this, I can route my mic audio through stereo tool in order for it to just sound really good. And first of all, I thought, well, I'll just put my mic audio through it. And then I thought, well, I could just put the whole lot through it. So I could just have that as a final processor on the end of the mix, if you like. Unfortunately, that doesn't really work. And it works in theory. I can do the routing and I can get the audio through, but unfortunately, the latency is just too high. So as a result, my voice ends up being more delayed than the HDMI, and I cannot, in the audio settings here, although I can delay my USB audio, I can delay my SD card video, I can delay all of these, I can't delay my HDMI settings in any way. So I can't adjust those forward or back. Well, forward, I'm not quite sure how forward would work. I can't delay these at all, and that's okay. I don't expect that to be on there. I'm not quite sure how. I don't even know. Can you do that? Yeah, I suppose you could add a buffer, couldn't you? You could add a delay onto an HDMI signal, but I don't really expect that to be a feature on there. But as a result, it means that I can't use the stereo tool processing because my voice I've tested it, and unfortunately my vocal, the lip sync is just completely off, which is kind of annoying, because I was hoping I'd be able to use it. I went through a couple of different options. I tried the low latency setting, the stereo tool. I'll just open it up on here actually, so you can see for yourself. Let me just pop that over. Right, so here we are in stereo tool, and you can see that if I don't do that, that we have a normal output, and we have also a low latency output as well. But unfortunately, the low latency output doesn't work either. And it works, but again, we're back to the same problem of it's just not, there's just still too much lag. So I went back to it, and I thought, well, I just looked up online and thought maybe I can find something from someone else who's tried to do this as well. And a few people online said, well, you've got to avoid the delay of any kind of sound card and what have you. So you've got to put your sample rate up to 192 kilohertz and all this sort of stuff, and make sure that you can bring, you're trying to get rid of as much buffer or much sort of buffering as possible to, I don't know. And so what I did was I took the monitor out of the RodeCaster, and I took that into stereo tool, and did it that way instead. So the monitor was out, so the monitor has absolutely zero latency on it, into the sound card, which was running at 192 kilohertz into the RME Fireface, and then took that out into here and used that instead. And still the latency was much, much higher than just standard HDMI latency. So unfortunately, stereo tool or this kind of device cannot be used purely down to latency. You just cannot get it so that you're on a live stream scenario like this, so your lip sync would be good enough. It just, it's too slow. Anyway, there we go. I hope you found that useful. If you're interested in how audio works on the YoloBox and the options you kind of have around bringing audio in, and the limitations and some of the quirks and some of the, not bugs. There's been a bug occasionally where the level meters just stopped working for some reason. I've kind of gone out and come back in and it started working again. Don't know why that's happened, but apart from that, it works pretty well. I mean, as I say, you can bring in HDMI audio, which means you've got all the audio options that a camera can give you. But I just wish that there was a couple of little tweaks, a couple of little fixes would just make it just a little bit nicer. But thanks very much for watching. Anybody out there who watches this video in future, if you want to support the channel, you can do through the usual methods. You can either click the links, the Amazon affiliate links in the description or comments, or you can just go to buymeacoffee.com/TDCat and go from there. But it's up to you. Don't mind if you do. Don't mind if you don't as well. But hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you found it useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And I will catch you soon. Hopefully next time I won't completely destroy my notes. And now I'm heading off to clean up, because this is, I've just still got kind of stuff everywhere here. This is, I spilt my drink everywhere. So I just hope I haven't damaged my computer. I wish I'd dropped it on that one instead, because that one's older. This one, it would have been much better to have dropped it on that one. Never mind. See you again soon. Bye.